First of all, I want to thank Bill and Teresa for volunteering to help with all of this. Also for Father Kidshaber, who invited me to come, and for our good Deacon Schmerler, for being here. Two of the servers are baptized. I remember two of these guys out of the three. And for the new ones, it's nice to meet you. But it's such a joy to be able to come back, where, as they say on Cheers, where everybody knows your name. And to be able to come home and be with people like yourselves. I'd like to talk first of all about the readings and then give a couple other examples in appreciation of these 25 years. The context of this reading fits quite well insofar as John Donne, the poet, said, "No man is an island." We're not self-sufficient. We are radically dependent on one another. Our lives interconnect. Think of our own families. Sometimes we want to be able to be independent in our lives. We can't do anything without our parents, especially when we're little. We don't learn independence until somewhere around 30. And so as we go through childhood, we just learn to appreciate. I know going through stages where it was like, I just want to get away. But then as I got older, I could see, no, I owe everything to my family. No man is an island. We are radically dependent upon one another. Take a look at something as simple as the food we eat. So when we go downstairs, have a few cakes and a little coffee, how many people's lives were involved in the production of that food? Thousands of people's lives, so that we could have this food, this drink. And that's our whole life. Think of the people who made this church possible. All of the lives, we stand on the shoulders. We are the recipients of the charity or the production or the work of so many people who have gone before us. This is only an analogy of the need that we have for something even most basic, and that is God. I was listening to a Father Barry this past week, and he used this simple example as well. He said, think about it. The sun. Where would we be without the sun? Nowhere. It holds us in existence. The air we breathe holds us in existence. Think you're independent? Hold your breath for 5 minutes. You're not independent at all. We depend on all these things that hold us in existence. That's how radically dependent we are. But when I think of, okay, who made all this possible? Who made the air possible? Who made the sun possible? Who made this planet possible? Who made this cosmos possible? We are radically dependent on God. He holds us in existence. Now, with that as the context, we look at Jesus' passage at the Last Supper. He says, don't be afraid. Well, they had plenty of reason to be afraid. Jesus is about to die the next day. But he says, don't be afraid, because my Father holds this world in existence. And if you want to know how to get in touch with the Father, he says, I'll show you, because I am the way, the truth, and the life. Jesus is the way to the truth, the truth, and the life. That's how radically dependent we are, and yet we live in this world of independence in which we see it as such quality when I can mark my own territory and say, no, this is me. I don't need you, I don't need them, I don't need the church, or I don't need God. No. We absolutely can only discover ourselves in the relationship of family, of society, of God, and the way that God works in our life. The way that God works in our life, again, we go back to the analogy of all the life around us. We receive God's graces in life through the hands of others. Similarly, when it comes to the graces of salvation, the grace of God comes to us through the mediation of others. Oh, I remember when I was 16 years old, and I remember saying to a priest, I said, so why do I have to go to confession to a priest? He's just another guy. And this priest looked at me and just quietly said, did you baptize yourself? No. Well, see, that's the way God works. God works in the way that he works in the world. He mediates his grace through other people. I'm very aware of that. When I saw these two girls come in, I said, "Who baptized you?" They said, "You did." That's why I'm so glad to be able to have 25 years of priesthood, because I am aware, deeply aware, that these 25 years have been years of mediating and experiencing God's presence. Have they all been joys? No, it's like a family. When you're in a family, you wouldn't trade your family for anything in the world, would you? But in your family, you experience the greatest joys, and you experience the greatest sorrows. You experience great strength. You experience great weakness. You experience human success. You experience human failure. I got up during the night and I just wrote down a couple of things about different things that I've experienced in this mediation. I said, I've seen saints in these 25 years in this family of the church. I've seen sinners. I've experienced moments of seeing God's grace work miracles in people's lives, in times in which it seems that God was absent. Not that he was, but that it seemed that way. I've been with people in their happiest moments in life. I've been with people in the midst of tragedy, death, suicide, and murder. Wow. Sometimes hard to be with our families, and yet that is the sacred place of encounter. I wouldn't trade any of those experiences, as hard as some were, and as beautiful and exhilarating as others were. I've seen miracles in confession, where God's mercy comes to a person, and I can see their lives change before my eyes, and I watch their lives change for the rest of their lives. I've seen other people abandon the sacrament of confession. I've seen some people converted just before their death. Beautiful bedside conversions. A couple times I've been kicked out of hospital rooms by people who are hurting so bad they could not connect with God. And they said, "Get out. I don't want to see a priest." And 12 hours later, they were dead. The joys, the sorrows of living in a family. I've seen some of the best of my students carry on and do things that are far greater than I could ever do in my life. I've seen some of my best students where they gave it up, either through stupidity, neglect, or great sin. They lost it. I've seen some of my worst students step up to the plate and convert. And they are some of the best people in their parishes today. Oh, the richness, the complexity, the beauty, the sacredness of this church family that we live in. Even in my own family, I've experienced the deepest moments of love during these 25 years as a priest. I've also said goodbye to my dad several times as he was preparing for surgery and we didn't know how it was going to end up. Last summer, I anointed my brother, who was in a very difficult accident. And we didn't know for an hour, I didn't know if he was going to be alive when I got to the hospital. When I anointed him, he took my hand. He said, "Father Joe, you will never know what this means to me." See, what I shared with my brother at that time was not just my love as a brother. I gave him a gift of my priesthood. And that's part of the richness. Young men, if God is ever calling you to the priesthood, oh my gosh, don't run away from it. It is a rich experience of grace. Just want to give two little experiences, one from another place and one from here. I was doing a marriage prep one day in the rectory in another parish at the cathedral. I got a call from the nursing home. And the nurse said, "Could you get over here tonight sometime to anoint this elderly man?" I said, "If you need me, I'll cancel my appointment that I'm in the middle of." She said, "No, just come within an hour." Okay, I said, "I'll be there." within an